The return of the ancients, the morning coffee, and Commander Elena. Rodriguez's cup grew cold as the emergency sirens wailed through the Earth Defense Coalition headquarters. She set down her mug and walked to the massive observation deck, where dozens of officers stared at the holographic displays showing the outer solar system. Something was happening near Pluto, and it wasn't good. Commander Rodriguez, we need you in the command center immediately, called Lieutenant Marcus Chen, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. Elena had served with Marcus for 8 years, and she had never heard him sound like this before. The command center buzzed with activity as Elena entered. The main display showed a sight that made her stomach drop. 12 massive structures hung in space beyond Pluto's orbit, each one easily the size of Manhattan. They weren't asteroids or comets. These were ships, and their design was unlike anything humanity had ever built. When did they arrive? Elena asked, taking her position at the central command console. 17 minutes ago, replied Dr. Sarah Kim, the coalition's chief science officer. They just appeared out of nowhere. No energy signatures, no gravitational disturbances, nothing. One moment empty space, the next moment they were there. Elena studied the alien vessels through the long-range sensors. The ships were elegant, in a way that spoke of ancient civilization. Their hulls seemed to be made of some kind of crystalline material that shifted colors in the starlight. They moved with purpose, not the random drift of derelict vessels. Any communication attempts? Elena asked. We've tried every frequency we know, Marcus replied. No response to any standard first contact protocols. But, Commander, there's something else. The ships are moving toward Earth, slow but steady. Before Elena could respond, every screen in the command center flickered and went black. Then a face appeared on the displays. It was humanoid, but clearly not human. The creature had pale blue skin, large golden eyes, and what appeared to be intricate tattoos covering its face and neck. When it spoke, the words came through in perfect English. Inhabitants of the third planet, the alien said, its voice carrying a strange harmonic quality that seemed to resonate in the room. I am High Arbitrator Zethkar of the Vorthak Empire. After 10,000 rotations of your world around its star, we have returned to reclaim what was always ours. Elena exchanged glances with her officers. 10,000 years? That predated recorded human civilization by several millennia. The alien continued speaking. Your species has grown beyond the parameters we established when we first seeded this world. You have developed primitive space travel and basic energy weapons. This was not part of the original design. However, we acknowledge that you have achieved a certain level of intelligence, so we offer you a choice. Elena stepped forward, pressing the communication button. This is Commander Elena Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Coalition. We're willing to discuss peaceful contact, but we don't recognize any claim of ownership over our world. High Arbitrator Zethkar's golden eyes seemed to focus directly on Elena through the screen. Commander Rodriguez, you misunderstand the situation. This is not a negotiation. This is an informational briefing. You may choose to relocate your population to designated areas where you will be allowed to continue your existence under proper supervision, or you may choose resistance, which will result in your immediate extinction. Dr. Sarah Kim had been frantically working at her station during the conversation. She caught Elena's attention and mouthed the words, "Keep talking," while holding up her tablet showing scanning results. How do we know you're telling the truth? About seeding Earth? Elena asked, buying time. Human archaeological records don't show any evidence of ancient alien intervention. Your archaeological records are limited by your primitive dating methods? Zethkar replied with what might have been amusement. We established the initial biological frameworks on your world when your species existed only as small mammals, hiding from larger predators. We guided your development for 3,000 years before departing to establish colonies in other systems. While the alien spoke, Dr. Kim's scans were revealing disturbing information. The alien ships weren't using any form of propulsion that human sensors could detect, yet they were accelerating toward Earth at an increasing rate. Their hulls appeared to be made of materials that shouldn't exist according to human understanding of physics. Most concerning of all, energy readings from the ship suggested weapons capabilities that could easily destroy Earth's entire defense. Fleet, we need 72 hours to consider your offer, Elena said, trying to project confidence she didn't feel. You have 12 hours, Zethkar replied. We will establish orbit around your world at that time. Any military vessels that approach our fleet will be destroyed without warning. Any attempts to leave your world will be prevented. Use this time wisely, Commander Rodriguez. The screen went black, leaving the command center in tense silence. Elena immediately turned to her staff. Marcus, I want every ship in the fleet ready for combat in 6 hours. Sarah, I need everything you can tell me about those vessels. And someone get me Admiral Thompson from Luna Base. Commander, Dr. Kim said quietly, based on these scans, our entire fleet might not even scratch their shields. Their technology appears to be centuries ahead of ours. Maybe, Elena replied. But they've been gone for 10,000 years. They don't know what we're capable of now. Over the next several hours, Earth's defense network came alive in ways the aliens couldn't see. Hidden installations buried deep, and asteroids throughout the solar system began powering up systems that had been dormant for decades. On Earth itself, underground facilities that officially didn't exist started opening blast doors that hadn't moved in years. The Vorthok had made one crucial assumption, that humanity was exactly what it appeared to be on the surface. They saw a species with basic space travel, simple energy weapons, and predictable military tactics. They had no idea that humans had been preparing for this exact scenario since the day. They first looked up at the stars and wondered what else might be. Out there, Admiral Jack. Thompson's weathered face appeared on the secure channel from Luna Base. He had been Elena's mentor during her early years in the service, and she trusted his judgment more than anyone else's. Elena, I've been monitoring the situation, Thompson said without preamble. How much time do we have? 7 hours before they reach Earth orbit, Elena replied. Jack, they claim they seeded our world 10,000 years ago. They think they own us. Asterisk Thompson's expression hardened. Well, they're about to learn that evolution doesn't just apply to biology. It applies to warfare too. Are the Ghost protocols still classified? Elena nodded. The Ghost protocols were Earth's most secret defensive measures, developed after first contact scenarios had been wargamed decades earlier. They were based on a simple principle. If humanity ever faced a technologically superior enemy, the key to survival would be misdirection and adaptation. Initiate phase 1. Thompson ordered. Make them think they're facing exactly what they expect to face. As the Vorthok fleet approached Earth, they encountered exactly what their sensors told them they should find. A small fleet of human ships, clearly outmatched, took defensive positions around Earth's moon. The human vessels appeared to be armed with primitive kinetic weapons and basic energy shields. To the aliens, it looked like a hopeless gesture of defiance. High Arbitrator Zethkar observed the human defense preparations from the bridge of his command vessel. Predictable, he said to his second-in-command, Sub-Arbitrator Velmoth. They massed their forces in a defensive formation around their primary satellite. Their ships appeared to be using chemical propulsion and basic fusion reactors. This will be over quickly. What Zethkar couldn't see was the network of quantum communication relays that connected every human vessel, allowing for instantaneous coordination across the entire fleet. He couldn't detect the adaptive armor systems that could reconfigure themselves in real time to counter different weapons. And he had no idea that each human ship was equipped with an artificial intelligence, capable of learning and evolving combat tactics during battle. The Vorthok fleet took position in Earth's outer atmosphere, their massive ships casting shadows across entire continents. From the surface, they looked like small moons hanging in the sky, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. This is High Arbitrator Zethkar to the human government. The alien's voice broadcast across every communication channel on Earth. Your time for consideration has ended. We detect that you have positioned your military vessels in a defensive formation. This suggests you have chosen resistance. We are disappointed but not surprised. Begin evacuation of your military vessels immediately, or we will destroy them. Elena stood on the bridge of the EDF flagship Determination, looking up at the alien vessels through the viewport. Every human ship in the fleet was connected through quantum links, sharing tactical data and coordinating responses faster than any alien commander could react. All ships, this is Commander Rodriguez, Elena broadcast on the fleet frequency. Remember, they think they know what we are. Let's show them they're wrong. Initiate Ghost Protocol, Phase 2. Make them believe they're winning until they realize they're not. The first shots were fired when a Vorthak patrol vessel detected what appeared to be a human scout ship attempting to flee toward Mars. The alien ship's weapons were precisely what human intelligence had predicted based on their technology scans. Focused energy beams that should have vaporized any human vessel instantly. Instead, the human ship's adaptive shields absorbed the energy, converted it to usable power, and used it to boost their own weapon systems. The return fire wasn't the kinetic projectiles the aliens expected, but a coherent gravitational pulse that caused the Vorthak ship's crystalline hull to resonate at its natural frequency until it shattered like glass. High Arbitrator Zethkar stared at his tactical display in confusion. What just happened to Patrol Vessel 7? Unknown, High Arbitrator, Velmuth replied, frantically checking sensor readings. The human vessel appeared to absorb our weapons, fire, and somehow convert it into an energy form we don't recognize. Patrol Vessel 7's hull suffered catastrophic resonance failure. Impossible, Zethkar muttered. Scan the human ships again. Full spectrum analysis. The new scans revealed something that should have been impossible. The human ships weren't using the primitive technology the Vorthak had detected initially. Their hulls were made of programmable matter that could adapt to any threat in real time. Their weapon systems were modular, capable of reconfiguring themselves for any tactical situation. And, strangest of all, the ships seemed to be learning from each engagement, sharing information and improving their responses with every passing minute. High Arbitrator, Velmuth said, his voice tight with something approaching fear. I don't think these are the same humans who were here when we left. Zethkar was beginning to reach the same conclusion. 10,000 years was a long time, even for a species as long-lived as the Vorthak. But surely no species could advance this far in such a short time. It had taken the Vorthak 50,000 years to develop their current technology level. Launch the full attack, Zethkar ordered. All ships, target the human fleet. Show them the price of resistance. The battle that followed would be remembered in galactic history as the moment the universe learned that humans what they appeared to be, as the massive Vorthak fleet opened fire with weapons capable of cracking planets. The human ships didn't retreat or form defensive formations. Instead, they scattered in patterns that seemed random, but were actually precisely calculated to maximize confusion while minimizing losses. Human ships appeared and disappeared using stealth technology the Vorthak couldn't counter. They struck from unexpected angles using weapons that changed their fundamental properties mid-flight. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to anticipate Vorthak tactics before the aliens could implement them. Elena watched the battle unfold from the bridge of the Determination, her ship darting between Vorthak vessels like a minnow among whales. But these minnows had teeth, and they were learning to bite harder with every passing moment. Commander, called Lieutenant Chen from his tactical station. The AI networks are reporting an 847% improvement in combat effectiveness since the engagement began. They're adapting to alien tactics faster than the aliens can change them. Good, Elena replied, watching as another Vorthak ship fell victim to a weapon it had never encountered before. But remember, we're not trying to destroy their entire fleet. We're trying to teach them a lesson. As the battle continued, it became clear that the Vorthak were not winning. Despite their technological advantages and superior firepower, they were being outmaneuvered, outhought, and gradually worn down by an enemy that refused to fight by the rules they understood. High Arbitrator, Zethkar finally understood what was happening. These weren't the primitive humans the Vorthak had left behind. These were the descendants of those humans, evolved and adapted through 10,000 years of competition, innovation, and relentless curiosity. They had taken the basic biological framework the Vorthak had provided and transformed it into something unprecedented in galactic history. Sub-Arbitrator Velmoth, Zethkar said quietly, "Prepare the fleet for withdrawal." High Arbitrator. Velmoth sounded shocked. "We still have superior numbers and firepower." "Numbers and firepower mean nothing against an enemy that evolves." "Faster than you can adapt," Zethkar replied, watching as another of his ships fell to weapons that hadn't existed at the beginning of the battle. "We created something here 10,000 years ago, but what it became is beyond our ability to control." As the Vorthak fleet began to withdraw from Earth's orbit, Elena received a final communication from High Arbitrator Zethkar. "Commander Rodriguez," the alien said, and for the first time his voice carried what sounded like respect. "We underestimated what your species could become. The Vorthak Empire formally withdraws its claim on this world. You have earned the right to determine your own destiny." Elena smiled as she watched the alien ships disappear into the darkness of space. "That's right," she said to herself. "We're not the same species you left behind. We're something new. And we don't mess around when our home is threatened." The battle was over, but Elena knew this was just the beginning. Word would spread throughout the galaxy about what had happened here. Other species would learn that Earth was not an easy target, and humans were not a species to be underestimated. In the months that followed, as reports of the battle reached alien civilizations across the galaxy, a new phrase began appearing. In their military communications, "Don't mess with the humans." It was a lesson that would be remembered for generations to come. Asterisk. The awakening of human ingenuity 3 months after the Vorthak retreat. Commander Elena Rodriguez stood in the newly constructed Galactic Relations Center on Luna Base, staring at a holographic map of known space. Red dots marked the locations of alien civilizations that had received reports about Earth's defense against the Vorthak Empire. The number of dots had been growing daily. "Commander, we have another communication," announced Dr. Sarah Kim, who had been promoted to Director of Xenological Studies after her crucial role in analyzing Vorthak technology. "This one is different from the others." Elena walked over to the main communication array, where a figure appeared on the holographic display. This alien looked nothing like the Vorthak. It was tall and slender, with skin that seemed to shift between silver and gold and multiple sets of arms. Most notably, it wasn't making threats or demands. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien said in clear English. "I am Ambassador Quextal of the Meridian Collective. We wish to establish diplomatic contact with your species." Elena stepped forward. "This is Commander Elena Rodriguez. We welcome peaceful contact, Ambassador Quextal." "Commander Rodriguez, your reputation precedes you throughout this sector of the galaxy," Quextal replied with what appeared to be genuine respect. "The Meridian Collective represents 47 species who have formed an alliance based on mutual cooperation and technological exchange. We have monitored the reports of your conflict with the Vorthak Empire." Dr. Kim leaned over to Elena and whispered, "Our intelligence indicates the Meridian Collective is one of the most advanced civilizations in this part of the galaxy. If they're reaching out to us, word has definitely spread about what happened. Here." Elena nodded and addressed the ambassador. "What kind of cooperation are you proposing?" "The kind that benefits all parties involved," Quexel replied. "Your species has demonstrated something that has not been seen in the galaxy for over 50,000 years. Rapid evolutionary adaptation in both technology and tactics. Most species, once they reach a certain level of development, become stagnant. They rely on their existing advantages and stop innovating. You have shown that humans continue to evolve and adapt even after achieving advanced technology. Over the following weeks, Alina found herself at the center of a complex web of galactic diplomacy. Some alien species wanted to form alliances with humanity, recognizing the strategic value of human adaptability. Others viewed humans as a potential threat that needed to be contained before they became too powerful. A few species, inspired by the human example, began pushing their own technological development in new directions. But the most interesting development came from an unexpected source. The Vorthok Empire itself. High Arbitrator Zethkar appeared on the communication screen in Elena's office 6 weeks after his fleet's retreat from Earth. He looked different somehow, more thoughtful and less arrogant than during their first encounter. Commander Rodriguez, Zethkar began. I am contacting you on behalf of the Vorthok Scientific Council. We have been analyzing the battle data from our encounter with your fleet, and we have reached some conclusions that may interest you. Elena remained cautious but curious. What kind of conclusions? We have discovered that our own technological development has been stagnant for nearly 20,000 years. Zethkar admitted. We became so confident in our superiority that we stopped innovating. We stopped pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Your species, in contrast, has compressed what should have been 50,000 years of development into 10,000 years through constant adaptation and innovation. Dr. Kim, who was monitoring the conversation, raised her eyebrows in surprise. It was unprecedented for a technologically advanced species to openly admit to stagnation. Zethkar continued. The Vorthok Scientific Council wishes to propose an exchange program. We offer access to our advanced materials science and energy generation techniques in return for studying your methods of rapid technological adaptation and innovation. Elena was intrigued but wary. Why should we trust you after you tried to reclaim Earth by force? Because, Zethkar replied, we have realized that the galaxy needs species like yours. For too long, advanced civilizations have become comfortable with their achievements. We have stopped growing, stopped learning, stopped evolving. Your species represents something that could benefit everyone. The ability to continue developing even after reaching technological maturity. The proposal sparked intense debate within Earth's leadership. Admiral Thompson, now promoted to head of Galactic Defense Strategy, was skeptical of Vorthok intentions. Dr. Kim was fascinated by the scientific possibilities. Elena found herself torn between caution and curiosity. The decision was made when reports arrived of a new threat emerging from the galaxy's outer rim. A species called the Devourers had appeared in 3 different star systems, consuming everything in their path. Unlike other alien civilizations, the Devourers showed no interest in communication or negotiation. They simply arrived, stripped systems of all resources, and moved on. Commander Rodriguez, came the urgent communication from Captain Jake Morrison, commander of the Deep Space Reconnaissance Vessel, Pathfinder. We've got a problem. The Devourers just finished with the Kepler 442 system. They consumed the entire thing, planets, moons, even the star itself, and they're heading this way. Elena studied the tactical display showing the Devourers' path of destruction. The alien ships were massive, each one the size of a small moon, and they moved in swarms of hundreds. More disturbing was their apparent ability to literally consume matter and convert it directly into energy for their own use. How long until they reach inhabited systems? Elena asked. At their current speed, they'll hit the outer colonies of the Meridian Collective in 8 months. Captain Morrison replied. Earth's system is directly in their projected path. Estimated arrival time, 14 months. Within hours of receiving this intelligence, Elena found her communication array flooded with messages from alien civilizations across the galaxy. Species that had been enemies for millennia were suddenly willing to discuss cooperation. The Devourers represented a threat to everyone, and the galaxy was looking to humanity for solutions. Ambassador Quextal of the Meridian Collective was the first to make a formal proposal. Commander Rodriguez, the Collective Council has voted unanimously to request human leadership in coordinating a galactic defense against the Devourers. Your species' demonstrated ability to adapt and innovate makes you uniquely qualified to develop strategies against this threat. Elena was stunned. In less than a year, humanity had gone from being unknown to being asked to lead a galactic alliance. The responsibility was overwhelming. But she recognized the opportunity it represented. High Arbitrator Thethkar communication came next. Commander, the Vorthak Empire formally requests to join any alliance you form to combat the Devourers. We offer our complete technological database and manufacturing capabilities. Over the following months, Alina found herself coordinating the largest military alliance in galactic history. Species that had never cooperated before were sharing technology and resources. The Meridian Collective provided advanced sensor networks. The Vorthak Empire contributed their materials, science, and energy systems. A warrior species called the Krell offered their expertise in large-scale military logistics. But the key to the alliance's strategy came from humanity's unique approach to problem-solving. Where other species saw an insurmountable threat, humans saw a puzzle to be solved through innovation and adaptation. Dr. Kim led a team of scientists from 23 different species in analyzing Devourer technology. The key insight, she explained to Elena, is that the Devourers aren't just consuming matter randomly. They're following specific patterns based on energy, density, and resource distribution. If we can predict their behavior patterns, we can develop countermeasures. The solution that emerged was typically human in its audacity. Instead of trying to fight the Devourers head-on, the Alliance would use their own consumption patterns against them. Human engineers, working with alien scientists, developed a network of artificial resources that would appear attractive to the Devourers, but would actually disrupt their molecular processing systems. It's like offering them poison bait, explained. Chief Engineer Maria Santos, who had been promoted to head the Joint Technology Development Program. The Devourers won't be able to resist consuming these resources. But when they do, it will cause cascade failures in their conversion systems. The plan required unprecedented cooperation between dozens of species, each contributing specialized knowledge and resources. Humanity's role was coordination and innovation, constantly adapting the strategy as new information became available. When the Devourers finally arrived at the edge of inhabited space, they encountered something they had never faced before. Coordinated defense by multiple species working together under human tactical command. The artificial resources were deployed along their predicted path, and monitoring stations tracked their approach with sensors provided by 7 different civilizations. Elena watched from the command center on Luna Base as the first phase of the plan unfolded. Devour Swarm has engaged the first resource cluster, reported Lieutenant Chen, now promoted to Tactical Coordination Officer. Energy readings indicate they're consuming the artificial materials as predicted. The effects became apparent within hours. Devourer ships began experiencing system failures as the contaminated resources disrupted their molecular conversion processes. Ships that had seemed invincible began losing power and drifting helplessly in space. But the Devourers adapted faster than expected. Within days, they had developed new processing methods that could filter out the contaminated materials. The galaxy held its breath as it appeared the plan had failed. That's when humanity demonstrated its greatest strength. The ability to adapt faster than the enemy could counter-adapt. All Alliance ships, this is Commander Rodriguez, Elena broadcast. Across the fleet network, Phase 2 is now active. Implement pattern Delta 7 modifications to all weapon systems. What followed was something unprecedented in galactic warfare. Real-time evolution of tactics and technology during combat. Human-led engineering teams continuously modified Alliance weapons and strategies based on observed Devourer adaptations. Each time the Devourers found a counter to one approach, the Alliance shifted to 3 new approaches simultaneously. The battle lasted for months, with neither side able to achieve decisive victory. But gradually, the Alliance's superior adaptability began to tell. The Devourers, despite their advanced technology, couldn't keep up with the constant tactical and technological innovations being deployed against them. The turning point came when Dr. Kim made a crucial discovery while analyzing captured Devourer technology. Elena, they're not just ships, she announced excitedly. They're a hive mind. All the individual vessels are controlled by a single central intelligence. If we can disrupt that central command, the entire swarm will become disorganized. Finding and targeting the central command required another leap of human-inspired innovation. Working with Vorthok scientists and Meridian sensor specialists, human engineers developed a quantum resonance detector that could identify the unique energy signature of the Devourer hive mind. The final battle took place in the debris field of a consumed star system. Alliance forces led by Elena aboard the now legendary EDF Determination penetrated deep into Devourer territory to strike at their command vessel. Target identified, reported Captain Morrison from the Pathfinder. It's massive, easily 10 times the size of their largest ships, but it's heavily defended. Elena studied the tactical display, her mind racing through possibilities. The command vessel was surrounded by thousands of Devourer ships, and conventional assault would be impossible. But humans had stopped thinking conventionally a long time ago. All ships, implement Ghost Protocol Omega, Elena ordered. We're going to do something they won't expect because it's completely insane. Instead of attacking the command vessel directly, the Alliance fleet scattered throughout the debris field and began using salvaged Devourer technology against itself. Human engineers had figured out how to reverse the Devourer's molecular conversion process, turning their own consumed resources back into weapons. The irony was perfect. The Devourers were defeated by their own consumed victims, reanimated through human ingenuity and turned against their creators. As the Devourer hive mind collapsed and their ships went dark across the galaxy, Elena received communications from civilizations she had never heard of, all expressing gratitude and amazement at humanity's role in the victory. Commander Rodriguez, came Ambassador Quextal's voice, filled with something approaching awe. In 50,000 years of galactic history, no species has ever accomplished what yours has done in the past year. You have not only saved our civilizations, but you have shown us all a new way of thinking about challenges and solutions. High Arbitrator Zethkar's message was equally respectful. The Vorthok Empire formally requests to establish permanent technological and cultural exchange programs with humanity. We wish to learn from your example and restart our own evolutionary development. Elena smiled as she looked out at the stars, knowing that humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not through conquest or submission, but through the very qualities that made them human: curiosity, adaptability, and the relentless drive to find solutions to impossible problems. Lieutenant Chun, she said to her old friend and colleague, send a message to Earth. Tell them we're coming home and we're bringing some new friends with us. As the Alliance fleet began its journey back to their respective homeworlds, Elena reflected on how much had changed in just over a year. Humanity had gone from an unknown species to the leaders of the largest galactic alliance in history. They had proven that being human meant more than just biological classification. It meant approaching every challenge with creativity, determination, and the absolute refusal to accept that any problem was unsolvable. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. When you mess with humans, you don't just face their technology or their weapons. You face their minds, their adaptability, and their unwillingness to give up. And that, more than any weapon, is what makes humans truly dangerous to their enemies and invaluable to their friends. The Devourers had come to consume everything in their path, but they had encountered something they couldn't digest: human ingenuity. And that ingenuity had not only saved the galaxy, but had shown every species in it a new way to think about growth adaptation, and the endless possibilities that come from never accepting limitations. Elena Rodriguez, once a simple fleet commander defending her homeworld, was now recognized as one of the galaxy's greatest military strategists and diplomats. But she never forgot the lesson that had made it all possible. Humans don't just survive challenges, they use them as opportunities to become something greater than they were before. And across the galaxy, alien species were learning to ask themselves a new question when facing seemingly impossible challenges. What would the humans do?